Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty, and here with us today we have Alan Bahr from Gallantverse Games. How you doing, Alan?
I'm good. How's it going?
It's all right. It's all right. So you've been on before. You are the brain behind Tiny Supers, as well as various other tiny branded RPGs.
Yes, I am the publisher and lead designer at Gallantverse Games.
All right. Cool, cool. Oh, hey, look, Jacob Blackman has joined us. How you doing, Jacob?
Hello.
Just doing introductions. So let's talk about Gallantverse Games, new
Sure.
Kickstarter. Right
Yeah.
now, it is on Kickstarter, and you just funded in the last day or two. So congrats
Yeah,
on that.
we just funded. Thank you. It's exciting. It's nice to fund. Oh, all right. There we go.
Oh my.
Oh my, that's hey, let's try that one more time. Sorry about
The
that.
mirror of infinity going on there.
Yeah. I shared the Chrome window and not just a Chrome tab. Here we are. The Gallantverse Campaign Guide, an expansion for Tiny Supers. So tell us what's going on here.
Yeah. So one of the things we did with Tiny Supers is we have the Gallantverse, which is our in-house superhero universe setting. And when we were detailing it, a lot of our stretch goals were about writing specific locations. So when you read a lot of superhero stuff, they can kind of be focused on one thing. And we wanted to say, well, there are heroes in France, there are heroes in Africa, in the Sudan, there are heroes in the Philippines. We wanted every place to have a set of heroes that felt like it was theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And because growing up reading comics from, especially they've gotten better, but back in the day, it was very even
New
just
York City centrist.
It was East Coast centric, maybe some West Coast if you were lucky.
Yep.
And a lot of fictional countries, right? And so one of our big pushes was, when we do this, we're going to talk about a location. So we deal with a section on superheroes in Eastern Asia and in Africa. And we didn't get to everything in the world because it's a big world and there's lots of places to go. So this supplement adds new rules as well as it expands the Gallantverse to South America, Atlantis, and Europe.
Oh, fair enough. Just curious, who do you have for Ireland?
I think we just treated the UK as a whole. The EU is there's a lot of little things we could do. And we kind of just wanted, and the goal of the Gallantverse has always been to give a framework that you can play with, not detail everything down to the nitty gritty for you.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand.
And so we said, here's what makes the UK unique. And as a whole, the UK is exceptionally magical compared to the rest of the world. So a lot of magicians and magical relics, and the superheroes tend to fall in that camp, So, and that's kind of the idea that you can use to build your framework if you want to run a UK campaign. Now you know, right?
Sounds good.
France is all about jumping to different dimensions. Germany is all about cybernetics and technology, kind of heavy metal enhancement. So we kind of use that, and we say, these are the frameworks. Here are some NPCs. Here are some heroes. Here are some of the problems people face in the area. Go nuts and fill in the details.
All right. Sounds good. I'm curious about this hero we've got here on the top cover picture, and they also feature prominently, looks like on the cover of the book. Can you tell me who they are?
Yeah, so that whole spread is from our South American section.
Okay.
So Nicholas Giacondino, who is the artist on this book, is from South America. And so he didn't do the writing. Liz Chypratikun of Angry Hamster wrote the South American section with Nicholas's input, and then all under my direction, obviously, as the kind of the creator of the Gallantverse. And what makes South America unique is that superheroes are defined by what are called mantles. They are these roles and identities that are passed down from hero to hero. And so that is sun, the mantle sun, like big sun in the sky. And each of these heroes represent something different. And they have their own personalities that merge with the person who the mantle has melded with, and they create a new unique entity.
Oh, okay. So kind of like Legacies, but a bit more so, or maybe like the Phantom.
Yeah, kind of like that. Think of the Green Lantern ring. If there was only one ring of each color,
Mm-hmm.
and each ring had its own personality that sort of meshed with yours,
Okay.
and created a new composite character.
That is a cool concept. I'd like to just pause a moment, give a quick shout out to Sean Vera, who's a regular viewer who's in the contents. Good to see you. We've got 4 viewers right now that I can see, so feel free to jump in with comments or questions. We always love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And just scrolling down through the page. By the way, kudos on your artist. This is beautiful, beautiful looking stuff you have here.
Yeah, this the colors especially are incredibly evocative. A very classic Bronze Age style. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Nicholas does great work. I'm a big fan of his art, and he really sets the tone.
All right, cool. So it looks like you've got about 7 days left.
Yep, we're about halfway through the campaign.
Okay. Oh, you're doing a shorter campaign. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, the book's a little shorter. It's already written, all the art's in. We really are just trying to fund a high-quality hardcover print run where we can put the excess into stores.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we're doing here. Like, it's done. I paid for the art. We did the writing. That's all paid for. We just have to print the book and go.
Oh, cool. That is an interesting approach. Now I see you've got a lot of tiers where, let's say someone's listening today and this is the first they've heard of Tiny Supers.
Yeah.
And, they can get in $50, get you the book and the expansion.
Correct. Yep. And the PDFs associated with it. Which, just subtle plug, it won a BAMF in 2020. So
that is a prestigious award.
It's very prestigious.
We're award-winning, so you can get an award-winning superhero RPG.
Oh yes, the judgment process at the BAMFs, I understand, is secretive, but very discerning. All right, cool. Just in case we have somebody, hey, there's Ron. How you doing, Ron? Yes, this looks really cool. In case there's somebody who hasn't ever picked up Tiny Supers before, and this is your first exposure to it, what's the elevator pitch for that game?
Tiny Supers is a minimalist role-playing game, which means it's easy to teach, learn, and play. The goal is that the game is out of the way. It gets out of the way of the story you want to tell, so you can just kind of move forward. You only need 3 6-sided dice. Your character will fit on a 3x5 note card. Tiny Supers is a little more complex than the average Tiny D6 game because dealing with superpowers adds an extra level of complexity, but even then, it's still pretty straightforward. The rule book, the rules section of the book is only 60 pages. It's not a significant crunchy game at all. It's definitely very streamlined and to the point.
Which compared to some of the bullet stopper tomes that we see in the Supers RPG genre, that's like a pamphlet.
Yeah, we are on the other end of the spectrum from somebody like Heroes, which I love Heroes and I love making characters for Heroes, but that is a session in and of itself. You can't just roll into it and go.
Maybe a couple of sessions, yeah. So, all right, cool. And yeah, you're a platinum bestseller on DriveThru RPG, so this is a bona fide hit. So
yeah, I think so. I love it. It's my favorite one of the ones we've done. So
sweet. Jacob, I've been doing all this talking. Let me hand the mic off to you for a minute.
All right, so I see you got things like you're talking about South America, you're talking about Atlantis. I also see you've got some good points here about other dimensions and dimensional travel. Can you tell us some of your more noteworthy dimensions that you're describing here? And did you avoid the classic trope of Nazi world?
So we actually don't detail every alternate dimension. We just kind of give a few highlights. I'm gonna have to pull up the book to see if it's. This thing has been written for over a year. I actually don't remember the last time I read the text itself. I've written 3 other supplements for Tiny Super since then.
That's fair.
Hey, check out this art, Jacob. This big skull fortress. That's cool as hell.
I was just admiring the skull fortress was cool.
That's the fortress of Thule, the techno wizard overlord of Atlantis, a pocket dimension.
Look at that. That's just badass. That's cool.
Yeah, and that statue is still right there. It's a statue of Thule himself.
Yeah, I was figuring. Nice. Yeah, that's worth the price of admission right there.
So some of these alternate dimensions, dimension 1 is core Earth, which is our, the Gallantverse core reality. There's a mirror world,
Right.
but it's full mirror. Like when people talk, you have to record it and play it backwards.
Okay.
There's like a tech world, which is sort of this bio-organic cyber world. There's like a nightmare world, there's a shadow world, there's a world where an apocalypse happened. There's I think we detail 16, just like there's like paragraphs. We don't go into detail, right? There's like, if you want to travel here, here's an overview.
It's keeping in the vein of tiny supers and, and the minimalism. No, I get that. I was just curious,
But we don't have a Nazi world that I can think of.
You did amazing. You did amazing, because so many people, when they do alternate dimensions, one of the first things they go to is Nazi world.
Well,
so
it's
good for you.
You're always comfortable having somebody punch a Nazi.
Yes, absolutely, and not, punching Nazis, always excellent, but sometimes some tropes are overdone. So
I think
on you
the closest one we have is where Russia wins the space race.
Yeah, see, that is an excellent alternate dimension, considering that was a serious thing for a while there.
My favorite is Sidekick Earth, where all the heroes are dead and the sidekicks are the heroes now.
I like that. That's good.
That is a cool idea, actually.
Give some really cool things there for like Young Justice and Teen Titans.
Yep.
I was gonna say that's Kyle Rayner's favorite Earth.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. 8 days left. You are funded, so this is a sure thing. Jump on the bandwagon, folks. And is it? Am I a jerk if I say so? What's next for the Gallantverse after this?
Oh yeah, no, that's great. So, a lot. So we have 2 more books written, and one's arted, the other one's being arted right now. One is called the Home Handbook. Home is our acronym for our teen student program.
Oh, so it's the Young Hero supplement.
Yep, it's a Young Hero supplement. And so they have to go do homework. It means something different than others might. So we got that, and that's great. It details a new city called Fletcher City, which is a city of archers. I always found how Star City had so many archers somewhat ridiculous. Like, why do people like bows in this town?
Yeah, seriously.
So I made one. I was like, I want to make a city where everybody's an archer and it's all just archers. And so everything's named.
Puns in there.
Yeah. We have like Sherwood Heights, and like all the neighborhoods are like terrible archery puns. I mean, the city is Fletcher City. So that's going to be interesting. And then we deal with the home program and heroes, and we introduce one of the things we try to do in every super supplement is we introduce a new set of rules. So the Gallantverse campaign guide has a set of like questionnaire you can fill out to help you generate the details of your portion of the setting if you want, or your own unique setting. Kind of just, here are some of the things you should consider when crafting a superhero setting. I was very influenced by Aaron Alston's Strike Force.
Oh yes, a classic, which is excellent.
Which I consider the preeminent role-playing game text on superheroes. Not to mention one of the best just general GM books you can read.
Oh yeah. The world that Aaron Alston's world is just so detailed and creative. It is a classic for those who have not looked at it.
Yeah, they recently had a new edition come out. Comment from Sean Vera. I love my Nazi punching. There's a reason I play on Golden Age superhero games more than modern era games. And that leads into his next question. Do you have any Tiny Supers Golden Age plans?
So the Gallantverse setting is sort of near future modern setting. It's more akin to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in its structure, right? Things are a little more science fiction-y. Superpowers tend to be from technology or science rather than other avenues, though there's magic and mutants and all the classic tropes you'd expect. So we really don't deal with superheroes prior to 5 years ago in the timeline setting.
Okay.
So there's no World War II heroes. However, with all the alternate dimensions you can hop to in the Gallantverse campaign guide, it would not be hard to slot in Nazi world, I suppose. Which is what we're asking for.
It would make Jacob sad, but you could do it if you wanted to.
You could also.
I'm not saying not to have a Nazi world because it is a classic trope. I'm just saying it is an overly used classic trope.
Maybe we'll do it in a small like PDF supplement or something. So actually that brings up a thing. You could easily emulate Golden Age superheroes with the Fallen Justice book that we have already published. Because the general tone of Golden Age is they're a little less powerful, or they're way out there. Right? There's no middle level. Either they're dudes with pistols and acrobatics, or they're literal gods. And Fallen Justice is all about powerless heroes. It's all vigilantes who can't take the power traits in the game. So it's like, you probably have to do some reskinning. Is oriented more towards like Iron Age, Marvel Knights with a K, than Golden Age. A little grimmer, a little darker. The whole book's in black, white, and red. But you could, and it has rules for utility belts and vehicles and stuff. So with some reskinning, you could easily leverage that to run a Golden Age game without much effort. I love that cover Nick did so much.
Oh yeah.
But the whole book is that style of art. Yeah.
Beautiful.
You could do an Earth 2 style Gallantverse that's set in the 40s and do something Golden Age. But that's not currently on my radar for something to do, because we're focused on moving the Gallantverse itself forward. Though there's always room for PDF stuff.
So yeah, with this campaign guide having the focus that it does, are you planning another campaign guide later to deal with some of the other continents and nations?
Yes. So our hope is every supplement we do will expand the Gallantverse. Mm-hmm. So the Young Hero book, which we're calling the Home Handbook, actually has Canada. And Sen Fung Lim, who is a Canadian game designer, he wrote it for us, and he wrote a really great micro setting, and the art's just stellar. And so we've got this expansion into Canada. Then it deals with the home program and Fletcher City. And that's kind of where it sits. I feel like we added more than that, but now I can't remember what it was. And there might be one more spot in there that I don't remember. We really only have Africa and sort of Eastern Europe, Western Asia that we haven't even touched on. Mm-hmm. At all, really. Because in the core book, there's a section for kind of Eastern Asia and I forget what the Philippines and the Oceanic Asian. So again, these are really big overviews. So we try not to get into which country has which hero or everything, but more broad strokes. Here's where we are. The UK section breaks that mold a bit because we do focus kind of on the UK, France, and Germany. And the reason why is our Spanish translation partner wanted to write the Spain section because they're in Spain. And so they asked us to leave it out. And so I kind of just told the writer, we'll just kind of stick to these kind of core three, and you can touch on the other stuff, but because they want to write their own, let's leave the space for them to do that.
Fair enough. Okay. I had a request from one of the commenters, Sean again, for more details about the Canadian section.
Oh, I mean, I could give you lots of details, I guess. Do you know what you want to know? Or is it just
tell me more about the Canadian section?
Yeah. Sure. So, oh geez. Multiple pages in the text. So I guess the overview is, it's sort of how would I describe it? It's sort of a near future sci-fi thing, like our general tone, but I mean, it's got a lot of people with cold powers because Canada,
It's chilly there.
It is. I hear that. I'm actually pulling up the text right now so I can maybe answer some of these questions a little better.
Yeah, I gotta say you're doing it right in the fact that you're hiring writers from the locations to talk about all your nations, whereas when I was putting together the Superpowered Legends source book, I'm doing everything myself, and I have very little information other than what I generally know about the individual countries and
Right.
continents, and and how
Well,
they've been represented in comic books, and doing what I can with that. So
it's hard.
the fact that you're grabbing writers from the nations, from the regions, I applaud you. You're doing
Well,
so
thanks.
well.
It's hard, it's hard. South America, you can't distill South America down to 5,000 words easily, right?
No.
And so I'm aware that and it's not supposed to be an accurate kind of cultural or historical document. It's a superhero role-playing game about playing pretend, but we want to make sure we get the overtones and the ideas right, and so I mean, and if anybody's ever got a suggestion or they have an idea for a thing, they are welcome to reach out. Don't just send me your idea. Just reach out and ask if we have it on the docket. I'm always looking for writers who are familiar with specific areas to help out. And even if you just want to be a consultant, we do that too. Like, Liz isn't from South America. She wrote the section, but we had our artist and a couple other people who provided feedback and consulted and helped her get the details that needed to be done right. So, all right, Canada. So Canada is called Project North Stars, is the name of the section. And they are more of a peacekeeper force than they are of an aggressive superhero team. And a lot of their stuff is given to them via something called S-Tech, which is like a hyper advanced superhero power generating technology. And so Canada's almost got this this unique take on, if you want to be a superhero, you can. If you want to join the North Stars, you can. And here's all the things that Canada does to support the North Stars. But the North Stars are not they're not the X-Men. They're not jetting around to different countries solving problems, right? They're focused on Canada and solving things there. And this S-Tech has kind of moved Canada into this, I don't want to call it a utopia, but it's more of a Star Trek-esque near future utopian vibe to it. Because of the technology, certain things are less of a concern than they would be today. And so, and again, it's all very high level. Mm. So we don't spend thousands of words talking about how Canada is different. We just kind of give you the clip notes and say, you get to fill in the details, because that's the part that makes the game interesting. It's what you and your group are going to add.
Yeah, right? What actually happens at your table.
Exactly. When people ask me how I design and publish our games, I tell them, our goal is to do 90% of the work. And that last 10% is what you're going to fill in at the table when you play. And so I'm not interested in giving you a super detailed, complete setting, because half of you are going to ignore it, and I'm going to ignore it. So let's get you what you need to get started and get you there and put the guide rails up and let you go nuts.
And if someone wants an exhaustive history, there are dozens of those, more being written every day. So,
yeah.
So that. All right, cool. So when is the Young Hero supplement home? When is that? When are we going to see that? Later this year? Early next year?
Probably early next year.
Okay,
I hope
cool.
do one supplement in kind of quarter 1, quarter 2 of each year for the Tiny Super. We have a lot of tiny games to support. Tiny Dungeon, Tiny Cthulhu. They all kind of need to get their time in the sun. So, as much as I would personally love to only write superhero RPGs all day, that's not what I'm doing. So, but yeah, so it looks like that one, and then we got some like monthly PDF adventure kind of things we've got coming down the line. Smaller, 10-page adventures. Things like that.
Adventures are always welcome. That's something I don't think gets enough gets done enough in the superhero genre.
They're hard. They're hard because
You have to figure out. You have to plan for any eventuality of powers. Yeah.
well, and so what we're doing is actually something I learned from my friend Ben Monroe, who used to work for Chaosium. Is we're actually going to write our adventures to Pregems,
Oh,
Okay.
and so the adventures will be tailored to those characters. And we'll just put call outs and saying, hey, if you have characters with different power sets, you will have to adjust these points or, be prepared to make changes. But it's crazy it's a fool's errand trying to write an adventure focused on solving all the problems and powers in a superhero RPG.
Mhm.
And I don't want to go down that road. That just sounds like a bad time.
Well,
Yeah.
frankly, the idea of using pregens is a good idea because it gives you the idea of this is the comic and these are the characters who are starring in that comic. So that honestly, that sounds really cool to me.
so what are you reading these days for inspiration, Alan?
So what am I reading?
It wasn't a trick question. I was just
No, I'm trying to remember. I think, this last year's a blur, first of all.
yeah, it's still March of 2020 for me.
Yeah, in so many ways. But
Well, are you watching WandaVision?
I did watch WandaVision. Yep.
What'd you think about that?
We enjoyed it. My wife and I both really liked it. I will say, a lot of people get really critical about superhero media. I am not. I am here to have a good time, and I have a minimum standard, so like no Dark Phoenix, please. But generally speaking, like I'm pretty easy to please with the superhero thing. I'm not looking for perfect. I'm looking for fun. So I had fun. I am not upset that I watched it with my wife every Friday for 9 weeks. Like it was a good time. I'd do it again. So I'm really excited for Winter Soldier and Falcon because Captain America is my boy, and I am stoked. I hope Sam gets to do some shield throwing because that is what I am 100% here for. The Falcon run of Captain America.
Oh yeah,
So good.
Some excellent writing.
yeah. I was reading Mark Waid's Avengers during that time frame when he had Sam as Captain America leading the team, and that was good stuff. I'm interested to see where they go with this.
That whole Falcon as Captain America era of Captain America Jason stuff was great. I mean, you had Secret Avengers, which was fantastic.
Yeah, especially I like the Warren Ellis issues the best, but yeah, that whole run was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Steve Rogers Super Soldier was a great little mini series.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe TV shows are going to be the future of the Marvel universe. I mean, I guess we'll see how things go with the pandemic and how much things quiet down. But
I wouldn't be shocked if you see these companies. I mean, DC is already kind of edging towards trade-only style releases.
Mm-hmm.
It does make more sense. That's how people are buying comics. I don't buy singles. I just buy a trade. And frankly, I think creating comics in trade-sized formats would be just better.
Well, I mean, it's I still buy singles, but I'm buying them on Comixology, read them on my phone,
Right.
and I always kind of stop and say, why am I spending $5 on 28 pages? This feels, or 22 pages. It's
Right. When you can spend 20 on 120.
Exactly. It just makes more sense. So
yeah, it's interesting. We this isn't announced officially yet, so I won't. So this is like a soft announcement. Sorry, guys. We've got one of the things we did for the first Kickstarter was we did a comic with an adventure back.
Oh, cool.
And we signed a deal with a comic company to produce more Gallantverse comics with like adventures and material. So
wow, that's a big deal. Congratulations.
Wow. Yeah. So I have to write those, but hey.
You're a comic writer now.
I am. I only wrote one issue, but now I'm going to write more.
Dude, that's I hope you can feel the scorching rays of my jealousy from here in Colorado, because that is really awesome.
I can't because I'm in North Dakota and it's a frozen wasteland.
I've heard that about. Actually, I've been through North Dakota, and that is an accurate description. My in-laws are all up there in Nodak. So
okay, yep,
yeah.
But so we, so I've been doing a lot of research into comics and sales and how people buy comics and consume comics nowadays. Make sure we make the right choices. Look for more news and official announcements.
About that kind of inside baseball stuff, but I understand that's probably a whole other show, and we're just about out of time for today.
No worries. Yeah, once we make an announcement, I'm happy to come back on.
Excellent. So, if we don't have anything else to say about the Gallantverse campaign guide or future comics or anything,
I think we're good.
I suppose we'll wrap this up today.
All right, sounds good. Alan, always a pleasure, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Jacob, thanks for co-hosting. Appreciate you helping me here today.
Always a good time. And if you enjoy content like this, please help support the BAMF Podcast Patreon.
We appreciate every bit. And to all our viewers out there, thanks for checking us out. And we'll catch you next time on the BAMF Podcast. Now, end broadcast.